I'm not the type of guy to dwell on shit. Even on a win, man. I'm not gonna sit here and relish in my win over Douglas Lima for the next 3 months. Like I'll enjoy it a little bit, win or lose, drink a few beers, eat some pizza, and get back to the work. Like I'm already back in the gym. That's what I do.
I feel like it became a thing where like every time you shoot, then they're gonna be like, no,
Yeah.
it was a good fight.
Yeah, it was okay. I just watched it for the first time yesterday. It wasn't the worst fight in the world. It also wasn't the most exciting fight in the world. Lima's brother was talking shit the whole fight. He sent me a super nice message after apologizing, but he was trying to get me like riled up too.
You got asked at the post fight presser about if you want to be next up for Johnny, and then
hmm
you said there's another guy in line.
hmm
Like, you want to just fight that guy? Did you see they made a report about your guys' purses?
Yeah, that's California. It's the California Athletic Commission. I don't know why the fuck they do that, man.
I asked him how you guys both fought this past Saturday, and I thought it would be a cool thing where he's like, yeah, it's sick to see us both kind of advancing in our careers.
And
But
instead, he was like, "Fuck that guy." I thought we were boys, man. I went to his gym and trained. He helped me out before one of my fights. He helped me like cut weight and get ready and let me in his gym. I thought we were boys, but I guess not. Bellator's been nothing but cool with me, so it's kind of like it's hard to look past them.
all right, so today I'm joined with Aaron Jeffery. Welcome back, man. How you been?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Want to start it off by saying congratulations on your win at Bellator San Diego. That was a big win for you. Your 20th professional fight and stuff like that. A big name. How's everything feeling coming off of that?
Good, man. Yeah, it was a big one for sure. 20 pro fights, big name guy, coming off a loss, which always kind of feels like a little bit of extra pressure. So yeah, I'm happy I got that one under the belt now.
Right. And before we talk about your previous fight, because I always like to kind of catch up on everything, with that fight and stuff going into it, you seem to be kind of holding your own as far as you didn't seem to be carrying any pressure and stuff like that. You seem to be in a good space. How are you feeling going into that one?
Um, yeah, I'm a pretty even kill guy. I say that in a lot of my interviews. I mean, every fight's a big fight. There's always pressure, but I don't know. It's like a fight's a fight. Like they're all the same. They're all pressure. They're all like a big one. So I mean, they all feel special in a certain way.
Okay. But when you kind of like carry things on your shoulder, I guess, going into it, do you feel any of it or are you like excited to be there? What are the vibes kind of going into these fights?
Both, man. I mean, you can feel the pressure, you can feel excited, you can feel all of it at the same time. Again, like they're all big fights, right? Like being in the top five or top 10 of Bellator, like I'm not going to get easy fights. I'm not going to get a fight that's meaningless at this point, right? So it's just something that you got to deal with. And I've been here for a bit now, and I feel like I'm decent at dealing with it. So yeah, again, fight's a fight.
Fight's a fight, but also, you do have a lot of experience. You've been on the contender series. They've given you a lot of big names in Bellator. So you almost feel like you're able to handle it pretty well now compared to maybe some other guys who are like, earlier in their career and stuff like that.
I
Like, is
think
that an
so.
advantage maybe you carry into fights now?
Um, Maybe. I mean, I still have my moments, right? There's times where I'm laying in bed and I'm not freaking out, but I'm like, fuck, I'm nervous. This is a big one. There's moments on fight day where you stress and you think about worst case scenario and that kind of shit. But no, I think I've gotten pretty good at dealing with it over the last few years. Yeah, I think I handled myself decently.
Okay, got you. And just to go back to Fabian Edwards, right? That fight and stuff. Even Douglas was saying like that was still a close one, even though you lost. It was a very close fight and it could have gone either way. So did you beat yourself up over that loss or were you kind of taking it the same way? Like, how did you feel about it?
So again, man, I'm like a pretty stable, neutral kind of guy. Like obviously it fucking sucked and maybe I shed a couple tears and whatever, but I'm not the type of guy to dwell on shit. Even on a win, man, I'm not gonna sit here and relish in my win over Douglas Lima for the next 3 months. Like I'll enjoy it a little bit, win or lose, drink a few beers, eat some pizza and get back to the work. Like I'm already back in the gym. Um, just kind of staying in shape now. That's what I do.
Yeah. And I'll say that I think that's pretty good mindset because I've been watching a lot of wrestling lately just because the Olympics and all that and college is going on or was going on. And like something that they lose all the time. It's part of the season and stuff, and they don't really put too much on themselves. But it seems like in MMA, that's something I noticed is a big difference between these other competitive combat sports is MMA. even me too, right? I'll make a big deal out of losses or something like that. I keep asking you about it. So like,
Hmm.
sorry for doing that too, by the way. But I'm just
It's
saying
okay,
that,
man.
you
I'm
know,
used to getting roasted by you guys now.
I don't think I've roasted you too much, right? Or have I at all?
No,
But
you're fine.
you got like Pat, right? And Dylan and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is just like I think it's good that you kind of don't put too much into these losses. Because that's something I recently kind of picked up on. I'm like, maybe MMA fighters are putting too much on these losses. You know, it's just part of the sport.
Yeah, man, it's kind of shitty the way the sport works though, because it's a big deal in your career if you lose, right? Like a couple losses in a row, you can get cut. You lose on the contender series, you lose your chance in the UFC, like that kind of shit, right? You lose half a paycheck when you lose. Henry Hoof says this all the time. Like he compares like MMA to like kickboxing, for example, when guys have like hundreds of fights. Like a loss is not a big deal to them. Like it obviously sucks. You don't want to lose, but like you're fighting, I don't know, 30 or 40 times a year. It's not the end of the world when you lose, and it can be for MMA. Like the thing he says, it's fighters fight. That's what we do. Like win or lose, we keep fighting. It just happens to be the way our sport is, where you train for 3 months for one event, so a loss can feel like life shattering at the time.
Yeah, because you don't get a turnaround a week later. I guess that's the big difference with wrestling too, right? Is they get a turnaround, it comes off really quick.
Yeah, maybe even the same day, right? Maybe you're in
Right.
a tournament where you have multiple matches in a day. You lose one, you're like, fuck, that sucks, but on to the next one. In fighting, like I just lost my last fight and I fucking sat there on that loss for what, like 6 months. So yeah, it can suck and it can beat you up, but again, it's like it's something I try to not do is dwell on losses or wins.
Yeah, just correct the thoughts, right? It happens, but probably just once it comes in, just be like, I'm gonna go train, focus on the positive.
Exactly. Like again, so I'm doing the same thing after a win or a loss. I'm taking a week or so to enjoy myself a little bit more, and then I'm getting back in the gym. So um, I try to think like it doesn't significantly change my life either way.
Yeah, right. And something you kind of mentioned too, the 6 months, right? I was gonna ask you that during fight week. By the way, I was happy to be there. That was a full
That
circle
was sick,
moment for
bro.
me.
Good,
Yeah,
good to
yeah, for
finally
sure.
meet you, man.
Good to finally meet you too. But what did I just say? Oh, 6 months, right? 6 months
Yeah.
off. How did you feel about that?
I'm kind of used to it now. I would prefer it not be like that, but it's just the way it's working out with Bellator. They don't have a ton of events. They got a lot of guys to give fights to, right? So they're not gonna have me fighting every 2 months. It's gonna probably be a couple times a year, which is again, it's not ideal, but I'm okay with it.
You okay with it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you got like Lorenz Larkin, he's been in the same boat. So it's almost like it's nothing personal for him either. It's just kind of a smaller roster,
Hmm.
not as many shows, right?
Yeah, I know it's like nothing personal, and they're doing the best they can. They're giving me 2 fights a year, and they're giving me big name fights. So, I mean, what else can they do?
100%. Yeah. By the way, like it seems like they're taking care of you well. You don't have to tell me like what you're making. That's not what I'm going for. But I did see. Did you see they made a report about your guys' purses?
Yeah, that's California. It's the California Athletic Commission. I don't know why the fuck they do that, man. Imagine working for like whoever the fuck, the grocery store, and they're just like, "Hey, this is how much Jacob Castro made working at fucking the grocery store this year." You'd be like, why are you telling the whole world that?"
Yeah, it's kind of odd.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, it looks like you're getting compensated decently, at least if you have 6 months off. You know,
Yeah.
are those accurate though? Like if on a scale of 1 to 10,
Maybe not.
maybe not that accurate.
Maybe.
Okay. Now with Douglas Lima, I want to touch on this one too, right? Because you got a hard time from the crowd. I was there, but I kind of feel like everybody just got caught up in the moment. I feel like it became a thing where like every time you shoot, then they're gonna be like, no.
Yeah.
Like it kind of became a thing of the moment.
Yeah,
And if you look back at that fight, it was a good fight.
yeah, it was okay. I just watched it for the first time yesterday. It wasn't the worst fight in the world. It also wasn't the most exciting fight in the world. Um, I think part of it's like kind of mob mentality. You get drunk, rowdy people in the crowd, someone starts booing, everyone just kind of wants to hop in on that. Also, I'm fighting a guy that lives in the States, and I mean, he's more American than I am, so he's kind of the countryman of them. He's a legend of the sport, the former champ. I'm sure he's got more fans out there than I do. And people don't want to see wrestling. So
I guess, right?
yeah, I don't
But you
blame,
got to
dude.
do the Khabib approach.
I'm the same. I'm watching UFC or Bellator on TV, and someone's getting wrestled too much, and I'm like, this is fucking boring. Stand them up. I don't want to see this. So I can't complain if they're booing me.
You get it a little
I
bit.
get it, bro.
I will say though, because this is something you got to consider is like to impress the fans too much. This is your style, you know, and like this is how you kind of work on like the whole aspect of your game when you deal with like these problems other fighters throw at you. So it's really not, I don't really think that it's even that smart to like base your style off the fans. You got to just kind of keep
Oh,
doing
dude,
what you're
for sure.
doing.
And uh Lima's brother was talking shit the whole fight. He sent me a super nice message after apologizing, but he was trying to get me like riled up too. He's like, fucking fight him, man, fight him. What are you doing? You're holding him, fight him. And I get it, man. Like your guy's a striker and I'm taking him down and holding him down. For sure, do anything you can to get that fight back up on the feet. Maybe you talk a little bit of shit and I'm wrestling him and I'm like, yeah, I'm being a pussy. I'm gonna stand up and fucking slug it out with this guy. You never know. So, but yeah, obviously I can't let fans or the other team's coaches get in my head and make me deviate from the game plan.
Yeah, that actually happened with Aljamain and Sean with the Tim Welsh.
Yeah, he heard the coach saying something, so
Yeah,
he reacted to that and ended up getting beat up for it.
exactly,
Yeah.
something like that. I think he said like he's throwing the knee or something like that. He
Mm-hmm.
he told him something, so
Mm-hmm.
then like it just made him question whether or not he should shoot in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah,
can't let that happen. And I had my coaches in the corner telling me like, stay this one, and that's what I did.
right. Now, also, I want to give you credit, man, because I even told Andre this. I think you got one of the best clinches in MMA,
Mm-hmm.
and take that what it may be, but to be one of the best at something in your division, you know, in MMA, I think that's kind of important, you know, to have an X factor like that. You could go up against a lot of these guys, and like if you can clinch them, that's your ticket to victory, you know, because you got the knees,
Mm-hmm.
control, takedowns, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
for
just
sure.
putting that out
Yeah,
there.
it wears guys down. I know I'm good there. Um, I think I got to open up a little bit more there and start doing more damage. And dude, in the gym, I'm like ripping knees and elbows and beating guys up. And I wasn't able to do that as much this fight. Maybe I was like so focused on the wrestling that I kind of forgot about like doing damage a little bit. But yeah, I think like moving forwards, that's one thing I'm gonna work on is like doing more damage there.
Okay. Do you are you almost saying you perform a little bit better in the gym and you're like working on performing better like in the cage too, or
I think so. It's fucking hard to say though, man, because you're with guys that you're comfortable in the gym. Like I'm going with like super high level guys, but you get to know them. You're a bit more comfortable. Obviously, you're a little bit looser. And in the gym, you're not really trying to take each other's heads off. And in the cage, you are. So obviously, you tighten up a little bit when you're in the cage.
yeah, okay. So something else to work on. But like I said, you know, I think you're elite in the clinch too.
Thank
So if
you.
you also add something else to your skill set that you can like start becoming elite at, that's like two things, you
Hmm.
know, and I think that's a big X factor when you got guys who can mix it up and be great wherever the fight goes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then also I had a question about like the third round. How satisfying was it that it was like 1-1? You know, you got the first round. He kind of beat you up in that second round a little bit. Third round, it came, or, you know,
Yeah.
that's where you got your cuts,
Yeah.
right?
No, bro. Both cuts were in the
Oh,
first round,
were
like
they?
in the first fucking minute of the fight.
Okay.
This
Well, I
one,
was also watching live, but
This one that was bleeding a lot, it was
yeah.
like, I don't know, not even a minute in when I had his leg picked up for that single and he was like punching
Yeah.
at me like this from one leg. It just grazed my eyebrow and cut me open. And then we hit the ground and he like kind of rabbit punched it a couple times. I think it made it worse. And then he hit me with one elbow from his back that gave me this one.
Well, I was wondering about that one in the middle, if
Mm.
that was just from like repeated takedowns or something like that.
No, it was just like shitty little short shots from the bottom. Man, my face marks up so easy. It's crazy. Like I look like I fucking got beat up for 15 minutes. I know he landed some decent punches, but like I looked like I fucking went through a war.
Yeah. I'll even say even the round he won, that could have gone either way. That was a very close
That's
round.
what I thought too. Everyone's talking about like clearly his round, whatever. I mean, he landed like a jab that kind of knocked me off balance. It looked like a big punch. And other than that, it was I couldn't get him down, and I guess I didn't do much damage. So if you're gonna give him the points for like one or two big punches, but like it was a pretty close round.
Yeah, for sure. But just like I was saying, you know, the third round came along. It really came down to that one. That's always got to be satisfying, right? When it's
Hmm.
like this is all it comes down to.
For sure, yeah. And I mean, I wasn't like stressed going into the third or anything. Like I felt like I was controlling him the whole fight. I got him down already once or twice, beat him up good in the first round on the ground. So I kind of felt like I had him still going into the third.
Uh-huh. Do you like psych yourself up or like just kind of because you've been in these big moments, you know? So like with all your hard work and stuff, like do you psych yourself up in that third round and tell yourself anything to get up for it? Or are you almost just like built for it?
think I'm just built for it, man. I've got good cardio. I got a good gas tank. That's what people always tell me in the gym. Um, I mean, third round, just another round. I just got to go out there and win. So there's like nothing special about it, really.
Okay. Because you know, some guys really have to pull from like
Hmm.
the depths,
Hmm.
but you're pretty skilled in there. You don't really gas out, so it's not like you had to do that right in the third round.
Yeah, this fight, I wasn't like gassed. All my arms were a little bit tired from like wrestling and squeezing and shit, but like cardio wise, going into the third, I think I was like pretty good. I don't even know if I was like breathing that heavy or anything.
Yeah. And that's what I was saying too. Like when you dominate, it's like really one sided.
Hmm.
So like that's what I'm saying. Don't let the fans get to you too
Hmm.
much because I think you keep doing what you're doing, keep racking up the wins, and it's gonna work out for you.
Hmm. Yeah, hopefully.
Now with your next fight, this is something I'll be critical about Bellator with is that I don't know who you can fight. Like where are these rankings at? Am I missing something?
I
Like,
th
do you know who there is to
I
fight?
think the rankings are gone now. So I think since they merged with PFL and they went Champion Series, I think the rankings are gone, if I'm not mistaken. But they're moving the division along quickly. Like every card's got at least a couple middleweight fights. They're doing the number one contender fights often, title fights coming up. So yeah, they're moving it along.
Okay. Now the only obvious one to me is you got asked at the post fight presser about if you want to be next up for Johnny, and then
Hmm.
you said there's another guy in line.
Hmm.
Like you want to just fight that guy to eliminate the number one contender again,
I
or what?
mean, sure, but is he gonna want to do that? I would think not. Like he earned his spot number one contender in that fight. So is he gonna take the risk to fight me? I don't think so. I wouldn't blame him for not wanting to.
Okay. So if he doesn't want to fight you or something like that. But you know how this sport works. If like who knows when the Eblin's gonna get rebooked.
Hmm.
But if that's far down the line and you get another fight, you're more recent. And
Hmm.
if this guy's sitting on his status or whatever and nobody knows him,
Yeah.
it could work out for you too.
You know how the sport is, man. It's a weird sport. There's like no such thing as deserving something. So I guess we'll just see what happens.
Yeah, it's like the Sean Strickland situation right now. He's waiting, but you got Robert Whitaker trying to
Exactly.
squeeze in
And
there.
people want to say they deserve it, but it's like anything can happen.
Exactly. Okay, now we got like a few minutes left. Let
Wait,
me try to
yeah, we can go
speed this one up.
another 10 or something if you want.
Okay, cool. Thank you,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
Let's pull it up. I'll try to share my screen with you too. Got the timestamps and everything. So all right, we're back. All
You
right.
can just tell
Well,
me what he said.
I'll tell you what he said. Just the whole thing about how wait, are you still there? Okay, you froze for a second. How I asked him how you guys both fought this past Saturday. And I thought it would be a cool thing where he's like, yeah, it's sick to see us both kind of advancing in our careers.
And
But
instead, he was like, "Fuck that guy."
kind of. He's like, I'll tell you all of it. He's like, I was beating him up for the first 7 minutes, but he got
He
me in
sure
that
was.
clinch. He gave you the credit. Yeah. And then I think his coach was talking in the back. He must have said, like, hey, call for that one. And he's like, I would love that. And then, the contender series things that happen with you, this would almost be like a ticket into the UFC, I feel like. But tell me your thoughts on the call out. I found it kind of just like coincidental. Common opponent, you and AJ fought before, and then you guys fought on the same night this past Saturday. Both got some victories. Did you happen to see his fight at all or hear about his win?
Aaron Jeffery.
Aaron Jeffery, yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like AJ. I did see that he won. I saw that he won, and that's a good win for him against Lima. That's a good win. Lima's no slouch. Yeah, dude. Honestly, give me that fight again.
Aaron Jeffery?
I know the UFC doesn't really want any parts of him, but um, that's one I really would love to get back. That was a part of my career where I was like super young, super green. I had no understanding of how to manage a fight. I just went balls to the wall, and I did. I completely dismantled him for 7 minutes, and then just fucking fell apart.
I believe it was the clinch that he got you in, right?
He threw he threw an elbow. He threw an elbow that cut me open. That's the first time I was ever cut in a fight. I remember like I had like the warm feeling that ran down my face. I was like, oh, that feels weird. And yeah, and then he threw a knee. I went to shell up after he cut me, and he threw a knee to the body, and I went down, and they stopped it.
Yeah. He's got a nasty clinch though. I would say he's probably got one of the best clinches in
He
MMA.
looked good against Rex Harris. That was
Yep.
before he got in the UFC. Yeah, his clinch.
CFFC.
Dude, I'm down. Fuck it, sign it up.
I mean, so it sounds like he was kind of pushed into this corner to make this call out. So I'm not going to put too much on him, but I thought we were boys, man. I went to his gym and trained. He helped me out before one of my fights. He helped me like cut weight and get ready and let me in his gym. I thought we were boys, but I guess not. Um, but no, I don't blame him, man. Like, of course, you want to get back. The thing is, we're in different promotions, and I've got fights on my contract in Bellator, and he's in the UFC. So I don't really see this happening anytime soon. You know, my coach was, I think, was at his gym in Philly and talking to his coaches, and they were like saying they want me to come down and train and shit. So maybe he can just beat me up in the gym instead.
A little smoker in the gym.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that.
yeah, why not?
Okay. Damn. So you thought you guys were boys, and you kind of got surprised by this one.
A little bit, yeah. But again,
A little bit
it kind of
surprised.
sounds like he was pushed into this call out, so I won't blame him too much. I like him.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, and I did say I was like, I'm not sure how many fights you got left on your contract. But also speaking of that, like I feel like you would be a formidable force in the UFC. Like you'd be a big signing in the future. And I know you're happy with Bellator and stuff like that, but you ever think about that? Like, cause you're still young in your career, you got like 5 to 6 years left, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I get fucking asked about it every other day, so I do think about it sometimes. But again, I'm in contract and have some goals here still, so we'll see what happens down the road.
Okay. Do you want to be the champion in Bellator? Or is that something you want to check off your list before like maybe do other things if possible?
Yeah, for sure. Of course, who wouldn't want to be?
Right. But is it a priority, you think?
I mean, that's what I'm working towards either way, right? The more fights I win, the closer I get to that. So, yeah.
Yeah. And because the way your career kind of played out, you were like really unsure. Remember when we first started talking, because this was before you got signed to Bellator and
Hmm.
stuff. And now you seem to be in a good place. They take care of you over
Hmm.
here. So is it one of those things where it's like you can't, because sometimes these guys want to go to the UFC for the views,
Hmm.
right? And the notoriety.
Exactly.
But are you in a position where you want to kind of take care of yourself financially? And you're 30, so probably thoughts of your family and stuff like that, buying a house, I'm sure, go through your mind.
Yeah, exactly, man. It finally feels like a little bit of security here. Like I'm fighting in the same promotion for the first time ever in my career. I got multiple fights here. And again, they treat me good. Bellator's been nothing but cool with me. So it's kind of like it's hard to look past them.
Yeah. And then I'll ask you this one too. You got a few fighters from Bellator that are kind of like fighting out their contracts.
Hmm.
Like Lorenz obviously just fought his out. He's a big name. The guy Anatoly Tokov, I
Hmm.
believe, 170.
Hmm.
He's like hinting at coming to the UFC now. I feel like there's two ways for you to view it. It's like, they're clearing out and I'm going to become one of the big names of Bellator. Or you might also look at it like, I hope that they're able to like afford re-signing me to a bigger deal in the future.
Hmm.
Like, how do you view this type of thing that's been going on?
Yeah, both of those things that you just said. Um, again, I still have two fights left on my contract. So if we're thinking I'm only fighting twice a year, we're looking like another year, 18 months down the road, right? So obviously I've got some time to figure it out and who knows what happens with Bellator in that time. So there's no point in stressing about it too much right now.
Okay, got you. And last thing I got for you then is, do you have any dates or shows that you've been eyeing as far as when you'd like to get back in there? Or are you just going to kind of wait for Bellator in the
Just
sense?
wait, man. I don't think it'll be this year. I mean, that would be pretty cool if it was, but I'm not sure. So we'll just have to see when the events are next year and see what happens.
Okay, sounds good, man. All right, well, thank you for the time,
Of
Aaron.
course, man.
Congrats again, man. I just got to say, too, it's been fun to see you kind of like rising up, especially from the very beginning. You're like one of the first guests I had.
Yeah, man.
So I
Been with
always
you since the
appreciate you.
beginning.
Yeah, so I just want to let you know, too, I always appreciate you as one of my first
Thank you,
guests.
bro.
So you're a longtime member of the program, and I'll always have you on.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, Aaron, take care, and I'll be looking out for the next fight.
Later, bro.
Later, bro.